Hey, hey, everybody.
So we just had to deal. Well, I mean, at post traumatic Teddy disorder.
Yeah, PTSD.
No, no, it's
PTTSD?
post traumatic
Teddy
Teddy disorder.
stress
No,
disorder or PTTD? Okay. I'm sorry. It is late at night when we are recording this, and we are
yeah,
dopes.
our humor is not usually. Well, isn't it normally late when we record?
I mean, yeah, but like this is literally before we usually would go to bed, so
That's usually it.
yeah.
Uh, because tend to sleep late, which you'd think like, oh man, being an adult is so awesome. You get to sleep as late as you want, and it's like, are you kidding me? Too much shit happens, and I don't get to sleep as much as I want.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, I don't need to go there. I need to go
I
here.
remember the days where I could get to sleep for 8 to 10 hours, and I'd feel great when I woke up. I'd have lines all over myself from my bedding, but at least I'd feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get a good night's sleep when you what's the best way to put this? When you wake up and you feel and you look like you're getting a texture pack on your body.
Yeah.
That's how you know you got good sleep.
Dude, that's literally how I woke up pretty much before we had this call. I laid in my bed for like 10 minutes after work, and I was leaning on my elbows. I keep doing it on my elbows, and my arms are like stiff as all hell because they're like getting slept
Oh,
on, tucked under my,
your arms fell asleep.
yeah, tucked under my freaking chin. And I'm a chest sleeper, so like all that weight's on them, and they're pinched off. So like as soon as you wake up, it gets the
Oh,
static feeling because all the blood's going into them. You're just like, I can't move my
yeah.
freaking arms. And it's like, well, this is part of being an adult, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
Like
I could have done that when I was 8 and just been like, that was a nice little nap.
yeah.
Now I'm two
I
hours later, like, what the hell have I done?
yeah. Like that's the thing about getting proper sleep is just that it's you need it, but sometimes when you realize like, oh, more sleep, that's so good, I can dream more and I get cozy. Nah, man, sometimes you wake up and you feel like John Carter when he comes back from Mars and his body had just been there for like however many years, and he comes to and he's just like all stiff because his joints aren't moving.
Yeah.
Do you ever seen John Carter, Man of Mars, or whatever that movie was?
Haven't seen the movie, but I've heard things.
Yeah, I don't know the quality. I remember seeing it years ago, but I was just remember the bit where he comes back from Mars because his consciousness was forwarded out of his body and into like a body on Mars.
Mm.
Then he's back from Mars in his own body, and because his body was like in a perpetual state of just stasis, not immortality, but just stasis. It's like his joints needed the hardest cracking just to be able to move properly
Oof.
because he'd been lying there for so long. So that's what sleeping like an adult can feel like sometimes.
That is true.
You just wake up and you just feel the crack compilation coming whenever you just try to get out of bed. Or like
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Krabs in that one episode where he was having a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're asking your workers like, "Hey, what do you do for fun? What do the youngins do for fun?" And then soon enough, you're just caught in compilations of, "Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
Sure, yeah.
Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Are you feeling it?"
I have come for your nectar. That
So
might be too new of an episode, and that was a bad impression. I'm sorry.
I have no idea which one that is.
Yeah, SpongeBob turns into like a little mosquito thing, and he hunts Squidward for his nectar.
What?
Yeah, it's a really weird one.
Is that a recent episode?
Yeah, but it became
Yeah,
a
I have no
meme.
idea. God damn. You really can tell the immediate difference between old SpongeBob and modern SpongeBob.
Yeah,
One
modern
thing,
SpongeBob actually finally referenced that like Squidward YouTube poop creepypasta, you know, where he's like bleeding from his eyes. They used a clip of that like in the episode because they're looking at alternative realities in a door. They open it up
what
and like Squidward's bleeding face like literally pops up with the red fog and just like brr, 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 like as a jump scare. And he's like, "Oh shit, no."
what is it about modern SpongeBob that just adds that gore humor?
I
Like
mean,
what?
there was always some like infantile humor because well, it's a kid show.
But that's not
But
but the way they do it now is not infantile. Like, yeah, there
yeah,
was
no,
slapstick and violence in the older SpongeBob, but it wasn't like,
like what
oh
it is
yeah,
now.
let's show the process of Squidward's sudden tentatoenail
Hmm.
getting torn off by a dresser, or like he's plucking his eyebrows and then suddenly the whole part of the skin that the eyebrow is on is torn off, and it's like,
Yeah, now
no,
it's going a little too Ren and Stimpy with some of what it does, and it is not Ren and Stimpy.
no, no. I miss the days when it was just campfire song
Yeah,
and the iron butt.
that was pretty funny. Alright.
It's like with Fairly Odd Parents too. I dropped off the show like a little time after the baby character was introduced, but apparently they added like a dog and a girl counterpart to Timmy, who's like apparently the perfect person kind of
Hmm.
thing, and it's like, what, what? I don't know. So, like, I understand why they need to keep going is because, like, it keeps making money and the kids sit down and watch it, but what turns these shows into the things they are sometimes? Because, like,
Honestly, you run a good idea into the ground if you let it keep going. It's the main reason I say, like, even with a lot of good anime, after a season, after 20 or so episodes, unless there's a reason for it to be syndicated longer, like it's following a manga release or it's something as high quality as One Piece, end it. It does not need to be longer than 20 episodes. You know what some of the best shows for TV ever made were? Freaking like short limited run series. They're like 9 hours long. There's 9 episodes. It tells the whole story and it's really cut, concise, and great because of it. They know the story. They tell the story. They're done. Once you get past like I'd say 30, 40 episodes into most things, unless it's literally humor like The Simpsons or Family Guy, where okay, yeah, you can always find some joke in the public conscience to write an episode about or be slapstick about some recent event. End it. Just end it. Like, have you told a good story? If you have, there is no shame in just ending it.
yeah, I mean, like, for instance, there are some shows that there are just certain types of shows where it's just like it's told everything it needed to tell, but then for some it's just like, well, what else? Like, for the case of Simpsons and Family Guy, I would say I would say like the major issue with that is probably like not the fact that the show kept going for as long as it had, but because staff changes happened and she the show rather not she is in the show, I guess, but the show just loses its luster after a bit, like, or it loses like its heart, I guess, because if you look at old Family Guy compared to new Family Guy, people compare it and it's like, wow, Peter looks completely soulless compared to personality that his expressions and body had in the older seasons.
And a lot of it is because, yeah, he has. A lot of the original team isn't there. It's no longer a passion project. It's not necessarily something everyone's in on the joke on. It's become a job. Like, they
Yeah,
know they have to keep pushing out episodes, so they do. And it sucks. It just really sucks.
yeah,
Because Family Guy still could be a really freaking funny show. There are some bits they do even now where I'm like, huh, that was a pretty funny joke. But they're few and far between.
Yeah.
and
It's like Joey the Anime Man said in a video of his from years and years ago, where he was asking like four word summary of anime brought up by people on Twitter, and someone said Family Guy, and it was like, sure, 14 seasons, 3 laughs.
It's getting there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, like there's a few good moments still, but when you tell that many jokes, how many are going to land?
Yeah. Like, I'd say probably the one that's been able to stay relatively consistent in its quality, I guess, or its capabilities is South Park.
Yeah, I mean, even then, the show has changed. When Trey and Bob were younger, it was about the kids. Now, if you really watch it, it's about the parents.
Yeah.
The kids are still there, but their parents have taken a lot more active of a role. They're telling storylines that go around, like Tegrity Farms focuses on Stan's dad. And that's a huge plot point for what the kids are going through.
I love that we are just completely ignoring King Moron, the fucking asshole who's dead.
Yeah, like that matters.
Yeah, like it's literally that moment of, oh no.
Oh,
anyway.
No, yeah, anyway. Yeah. But this is part of why I wanted us to do this video. We're going through a lot this week, and you know what? This is a great place. We just chill, we talk, and yeah, a lot of story is going to happen here, so if y'all are interested in that, you can totally watch this episode for the plot, as it will thicken, and a lot happens in like the next 5 days here, but otherwise, yeah, we're going to just talk about TV and how it gets kind of crummy, or, I don't know, kittens being awesome, and why Sprigatito is probably going to be the best freaking starter in the next Pokemon game.
I don't know if I'm even going to get the next Pokemon game, because I kind of agree with a lot of people's sentiments that Pokemon's gotten, like, kids' first RPGs to, like, Nick Jr. level of RPG sometimes with how easy it can be. You know what I mean? It's
like,
it's more... it's like the... Like... A lot of people still say Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or even Black and White 2, are the best Pokemon games in terms of, like, they look good, they sound good, they fill to the brim with content that's actually challenging, you know, that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're good games. I've had a lot of fun with Soul Silver. I never played Black or White, but I'm going to, because at this point I feel I've put a lot of time into it, especially late high school, early college. I was trying to actually play competitively. I want to take those Pokemon into the latest generation, put them into home. So, like, yeah I'm going to play through Black, and I'm going to go ahead and move everything up. I'm currently playing through Moon and Shield. I just started a few days ago, and I'm like, you know what, just looking at what, like, 3 years difference between those two games, and playing them simultaneously after not having played a Pokemon game in about probably 4 years, I'm like, wow, these games are really different. But they're not bad to me, but I see why they get their flack.
And not to mention I mean, how do I put this? When it was announced that you could only take certain amounts of Pokemon over to Sword and Shield that fit within that region's Pokedex, people were really mad, because, you know...
I was mad about that, and I wasn't even going to play it at the time.
Yeah,
I was just
they were mad because it's like, why would you not allow us to bring them over? You did it for Sun and Moon. What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal? Blah, 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 blah.
And
like,
y'all are
buzz was
using
being
pretty much
generated.
the same models, just upscaled.
Yeah, so the one of the executives, I forget, I want to say it was Junichi Masuda, but it could have been one of the other executives. I don't remember, but he said, like, oh, we're going to be doing, we're restricting the Pokédex so we can focus more on the animation and look of the game. And then people immediately pointed to the overworld, and they were like, excuse me? And then some showed that they recycled animations from Sun and Moon into Sword and Shield, and the fact that the Pokemon's idle animations hadn't changed, the fact that there were only like a few cool looking attacks in Sword and Shield from like specialized Pokemon moves.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well that was a fucking lie. And then the DLCs came and that allowed more Pokemon in, and then it dawned, oh, they cut it so they could resell it to people.
Well, that is definitely part of it, I think. But I think also maybe they're going to start trying to take the Digimon approach. Because Digimon doesn't have every Digimon in every game. And they usually introduce a couple per game, and its setting just allows you to have these Digimon. And that's okay. If they really up the quality, and I think, honestly, Sword and Shield was probably planned to originally be a 3DS release, and they got ported to the Switch. Or they were on time crunch for an annual release schedule, blah, blah, blah. It was essentially the prototype. Arceus has pushed a few things on what can be done, how the game can look, and we see some of what they did there being put into Scarlet and Violet, so I'm like, okay, maybe not this generation, but the one after that will start to look more like Pokken Tournament or something, which is what I think most people want, is the quality of the game, maybe have less Pokemon overall, or if you really want just like the competitive Pokemon game, release, you know, like the Pokemon Coliseum games. I know we had like a battle tournament on the Wii. Release another one of those with like graphics that look as good as Pokken Tournament. Have the full roster where you don't have any plot, you don't have NPCs to worry about. You have base character customization, and you focus on the Pokemon battle system. If you want to just make it babies first RPG with some fun elements and some story, then you don't need everything there. I get it. But then you really need to start focusing more on the story and the world building, which they haven't been doing up till now. And I'm like, this is an opportunity for the franchise to turn. I just don't think they're going to do it in a single generation. But it's not something I'm against, at least not innately, you know?
I don't know. All I know is that we don't really... When it comes to Pokemon, the character designs end up stealing the show more than the story. Because it's like, yeah, you can probably recall some of the more story-heavy ones from the franchise, or ones that seem to have some decent themes. Like, a lot of people can say that Black and White have probably one of the better ones in terms of narrative.
Yeah.
And then you just compare it to other simple ones, or something, and it's just like, yeah, people don't really play Pokemon for the story. They play it for like the competitive cute aspect, the new Pokemon being cute or cool or whatever have you. Maybe find one or two furry baits here or there, and then they just end up wanting to collect everything, as the title implies. So when they pull shit like that, it's really frustrating. But then they start adding in characters that have really cool designs and appeal to an incredibly high demographic. If you need any further evidence, let me point to you when Nessa was first shown from Sword and Shield, the water gym leader. And yeah, just remember that, or like the buzz that Leon and Raihan have from Sword and Shield. You know, it's. I'm not saying character design and like the bits of fun character they show like are the whole reason why that game still has a fan base, but I'll say it's at least a contributing factor. Because like it's like when nobody really knew or cared much about the Atelier series, the Alchemy JRPG series. Do you know what that is?
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. That nobody really cared much about it, save for a cult fan base. But then the Ryza games came around, and it was like, hey, cool, it's this tomboy girl that's an alchemist. Jesus Christ, those thighs! And then it just took off. It was all over from there. You do not, like, listen. There is a certain way that you can end up getting shit together. It's like the Lady Dimitrescu thing. It's Atelier Ryza. It's some of the character designs in Pokemon, Sword and Shield. Sometimes the thirst does enough. Like maybe just the thirst factor does enough. Or like how Reagan from Mob Psycho 100 for some reason became a massive sex symbol. Sometimes you just let that shit happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, thanks for coming to my TED Talk about how character designs can, how sometimes character designs can carry a series that may have, I wouldn't say fallen, but like
Started to get crusty.
de-escalated in terms of general hype. Like, that's not to say that Scarlet and Violet aren't having any hype, but I feel like Sword and Shield and the stuff around that kind of made people realize, oh, okay, maybe we should start asking for more out of this besides just this status quo thing that they've been writing for the past few generations now.
And that's why I say, like, I'm kind of okay with it. Like, let these changes happen over a generation or two, and let's see if maybe the series can't be shaped into something aside from the status quo.
Right. The other thing I'm thinking is, I mean, speaking of Scarlet and Violet, when I first saw it, I really got thrown off by how different the character design is. Like, the art style for the character look, because Pokemon's been rocking that kind of larger-eyed thing since X and Y.
Yeah, I think
so to see them go for this, more, you know, sort of realistic look where the eyes are more proportionate to the body and the faces look different, it's just like, wow, that's not what I would have expected. But I guess maybe they just went like, okay, people are complaining that our games kind of have the graphical fidelity of still being 3DS games, just blown up with bloom on them. So how about we just make it look not like an upscaled 3DS game? And I guess they took that advice.
Yeah. This is a great scene coming up.
Yeah. It's like if a kid accidentally saw one of the Disney mascot people take their costume off. It's like, well, because apparently I hear there's repercussions for that. Like more to help the family that saw that as opposed to the staff. I don't know. Maybe the staff gets in major trouble because Disney World and Park are, you know, soulless. They kind of just. They do that. But I just told you I'm not hollow anymore. It's too hot. I can't stand it.
Here we go. Also, I love how they look when they're drawn in the cutscenes.
Yeah, the anime cutscenes are really nice to see.
Yeah, they really are. Like, I would love if the Persona game actually looked like the cutscenes. Hell, a 2D Persona game like the PS1 ones would be pretty fun, too. Also, he is dripping, baby.
Well,
look at that drip.
How would you feel if you were stuck in a mascot costume for however knows long in the middle of summer?
I mean, I wear cosplay and go to cons in summer. I fully understand.
Oh no,
I should have thought before I said that. Me too.
Yeah, we know.
Especially if it's like that nylon shit where it's like you're wearing a jacket that looks something like it.
Dude, if we actually edited our videos more, I'm just saying, like, we could totally put in the Squidward scene where it's like, oh no, he's hot! right here.
Well, I mean, theoretically I could do it. It's just
yeah,
I need to learn how to edit videos a bit more.
I mean, if you want to do it as a challenge, go ahead, because I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, future Will may have put the sound in if he's able to, if he knows how. Or if he figures it out before this video goes up.
Yep. Now we got Hot Teddy.
More of a twink Teddy, actually.
Hmm?
He's more of a twink.
Oh, no, totally. But, I mean, that's still kind of hot. He's a pretty boy, and you know what? The girls seem to appreciate it.
Well...
As well as Kanji.
Well, it's more like stunned as opposed to like, oh, ooh, oh my god.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's like,
but I'm just saying, it's freaking hilarious. I love this.
I imagine it's like the reaction of hearing a dog meow. You never really, like, it's something you don't expect to see, don't in any kind of lifetime, and then you hear it or see it, and you're like staring at it like, is there something wrong? What? Why are you like that? Is something wrong with you? What made you do that? Or like when a kid is playing a fireman and uses wood glue to spray all over your hallways or something. I don't know.
It's finally the season for popsicles again. Dude, how many are you going to eat? You're gonna get a stomachache.
Fallen off of those kind of treats for a long while now.
I love them. I mean,
the topsicle stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I don't really.
Wait, is topsicle different than just a popsicle? I thought they were just making a pun here.
Let me look it up. It might be.
Yeah, please
be
do. I'm now curious because is it like the stuff where like you sprinkle spicy powder onto the popsicle? Because like I love those. I love like when they get the red spicy like mango.
Oh, it's a tofu popsicle.
Oh, okay. I mean that's very Japanese. I don't think we have those here.
Yeah, I mean they get creative with all kinds of food over there because it's like, let's see, green tea Kit Kats, which you know, okay, that's a fair enough one. And then, fuck, like I think there were chips that are flavored after pizza that I hear are pretty decent. Obviously, they have probably a billion different kind of things they could do with tofu. They're very good at inventing different foods or coming up with like weird food products that may or may not taste awful, like the slime curry or the Sonic curry.
Well, he can't help it. It's his first time in our world. All right. You don't need to get all mopey like that. I never said I won't forgive you.
I'm so glad. I was worried that you didn't like me anymore.
Oh, man. If you can behave yourself, you'll be pretty cute.
Is he cute? What do you think, Kanji?
Yosuke.
What are you asking me? Well, I was just wondering if he was your type.
Yosuke.
Oh, I get it.
I
It's
mean,
like the equivalent of
honestly,
saying,
though,
like-
that wouldn't be too bad. Like, this isn't, like, him being mean about it, at least.
It's
Really asking
it
is,
reminds me of this
please beat the shit out of me, Kanji.
I love this response.
yeah. I'm reminded of this one story that I heard. Are you familiar with StoryCorps?
No.
It's a radio show. I think it's on NPR, but I could be wrong. But it's a radio show, I guess now more podcasty type thing, where this studio goes and goes out or brings in people like average Americans and interviews them about things in their life.
Oh, well.
And there's this one guy who talked about how he had a love letter from a guy, and his father kicked him out and left him with only a sleeping bag and a $5 bill. And the rest of that guy's family apparently split up and became estranged
Oh, wow.
from everybody, from their parents, because their parents were horrible people, or specifically the father was a horrible person.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a family of 8 siblings, I think. So it's like, yeah, a lot to bring together. But one of the brothers who was in the interview with this guy was like, yeah, I tried my best to reconnect with everybody, and you know, after you started to accept me and feel comfortable, you would go to every person every guy that you thought was gay, and he's like, hey, you should meet my gay brother, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's like, I understand you had an intention there that isn't awful, but come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like, just because 2 guys are in a room and they're both gay, that doesn't mean that they are gonna immediately go for each other. You know, it's like if you want to play a gay Commander Shepard, and there's like one gay man option, and it's like, really, just because I'm gay and this guy's gay, that's all I'm gonna get?
Yeah.
Oh, it's about
So there you go. There's my talk about why that was an insensitive comment from Yosuke.
Totally, but you know, like, I think that's also kind of wholesome in a way because, like, look, in real life, some people just don't know how to act about, hey, I know a gay person, and Yosuke is kind of like the cover by. He's not going to admit that he likes guys. I love that it's kind of possible, maybe mildly insinuated he could be interested, but he plays a straight card, and when faced with someone who is possibly gay, and let's face it, this game pretty much portrays him as gay, you know, he's trying to be friendly, but he's also maybe mildly antagonistic in that we're buddies and I'm making, you know, shit with you.
Yeah.
Type of way. And yeah, it could be a little insensitive, but he probably means well, and I feel like that happens a lot in real life. And it's like,
yeah,
you mean well, Yosuke. Like, that's... It's kind of a comedic moment, and maybe even a growth moment for you. Because... Are you asking him if you want him to beat the shit out of you, Yosuke? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, essentially, because it's like, at the very least, there's the punchline of it. Is that
Yeah, like, I think it's played off really well. I enjoy
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm overanalyzing, but it's just sometimes you just hear the comments like of things like that, and you just think like, wow, okay, I'm reading into that. That's a different one.
Well.
But at the very least, Yosuke is probably like thousands and thousands of yen poorer because Chie bought those clothes with Yosuke's money.
Why would you do that? You know I just bought a motorcycle I broke.
So, if you're already broke, a little more debt isn't gonna make much of a difference.
I'm sorry, but Chie is a bitch for this one.
Well, I mean, how much would those have cost, though?
I mean,
like
if
his
he got it from,
clothes.
like, a men's warehouse or something, we're looking at maybe $200, $300 in threads.
What if Junez is the men's warehouse of Walmart department-style stores?
Ugh.
Or Walmart-style department stores? That might be the...
Yeah.
Maybe that might be it. Like,
Yeah.
Junez is, like, actually... Like,
Because he's wearing dressy clothes, you know?
men, when can it be socially acceptable to wear what Teddy's wearing? I want to wear one of those shirts. I want to wear one of those medieval kind of shirts, like...
I mean, it's always okay at a quinceañera or just about any Hispanic event.
Well, I just think it... I won't... No, but I mean, like, casually. Or,
I mean-
or like wear what Miles Edgeworth has. I don't know. When can we actually start to wear things like that?
I mean,
Like,
nothing's
'cause I-
stopping you, and, like, no one will frown on you socially for it. You'll just be a little odd, but at least you'll be dressy.
Sometimes it's just nice to be drepsy.
I feel the same way.
I'm
I
now
mean,
curious about wanting
I've
to try
got
tofu
3
popsicle.
suits and some jackets in my closet just because, you know, sometimes you want to feel good and look good.
Well, my deal is that I'm a bit more practical, and I don't like the idea of wearing suits because it's a lot of layers to wear. And I remember having to wear a tuxedo for choir, and I could not move my
Ugh.
shoulders very well.
No, fair enough. I really hate the cut on most modern men's jackets. But,
So,
you know, that's why I
yeah,
saw a tailor and got mine altered.
yeah, so for the most part, I'm mostly just wear what's comfortable, and if the colors don't look like they're going to legitimately gouge people's eyes out like some kind of weird Carnage from Spider-Man monstrosity, then it's fine. I won't complain. Like, if it's in a color I like and it smells clean, then it's fine. And here we have someone with whose shirt color I really like. That's a really nice color shirt.
Agreed. Agreed. I really like that shirt too.
I don't know, like I can appreciate the fashion in a lot of Persona games because they tend to like be realistic, but not like the super outlandish, like weird
Yeah.
patterns and such.
No, I mean, they make great fashion choices. Like, let's face it, even I own a pair of red pants. I could pull off a Yosuke look right now, and that's pretty casual and pretty fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't go red pants far, but
I went to A&M, so owning maroon and red pants kind of makes sense. I just saw them and I was like, yeah, I like that. My shoes are maroon, my pants are maroon. I pair that with like a gray top, and you know, then I got like my spiked bracelet or something because I got red
I
leather bracelets.
Well,
I just mostly wear dark colors of like grays, whites, blues, and blacks. I'm very boring in that way.
as quickly as possible. I'll be capable then.
Like it's not like I really get comments on my wardrobe. I think the most the most standout graphic tees that I think I have, or tees with just images on them, are the Gorillaz one I have, which is like a shirt of the Now Now album art because I really like the look of it,
Hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Are you all here?
and I have a Bloodborne shirt.
Well, yeah.
Like for me, I'd
Which-
say I'm pretty outlandish style-wise, but that's because like my go-to tank, I like wear it under an open shirt most of the time, or on the weekends I just wear a tank top around. And I got like I would say not like a lime green, but it's kind of more of a foresty green tank top with black pineapples, like almost graffiti style sprayed all across it. Like I like the look.
Yeah, I
And
just
then dress shirt wise, every week I pull out my pineapple freaking Hawaiian shirt. Like I
Yeah,
love patterns. Like give me crazy patterns on shit, and I am down.
yeah, I'm
Remember being at my house.
I'm fine with patterns, but I'm more of like a subtlety kind of thing. I don't like the outlandish too much unless it's like
Aw.
I
Still no real
I don't know.
motivation.
I just
We met this weird kid
try to
a
look
second ago.
decent with what I've got.
Several
And the thing
times.
is that
He
when
asked
you
me
have an out
constant.
like
I didn't tell him
with my
anything.
wardrobe, I tend to not care about the aesthetics because nobody else ever seems to. Because it's for me, clothes are a lot like hair. If it looks okay to me 97% of the time and nobody gives me shit about it,
Found me unconscious.
like unless I've got a hole in my shirt or something, then I'm not gonna
Guess that's
care.
close enough to the truth.
It's like the reason why I don't do my hair up. It's like nobody says, "Hey man, I like your hair done up," or "Hey man, you look like you did good on your hair there."
Hmm
I
think
that's why I don't
just
do
part
it.
of being a guy. We don't get complimented for anything. It's more about just do you feel comfortable and do you enjoy what you're wearing. Like that's why I enjoy patterns. I just feel comfortable and I'm like, yeah, I'm a little flashy, I'm a little showy, but you know what? That's something I take pride in. I enjoy it. I think it marks my somewhat more dour personality and makes me at least a little more interesting in social situations.
I just blend. That's really it. I just kind of blend into the corner a little bit. I just end up getting like a sneak modifier bonus of like 20.
Yeah.
And as I said, like my hair, a lot of the time I don't really give a shit about what it looks like, but my parents always tell me, "You look better with your hair done up. You look better with like that. Why don't you do it? Like you have the product to do it. Why don't you do it?" And in my head I'm just like, because nobody gives a shit if I even did it in the first place.
Yeah, you gotta do it for yourself, man. It ain't what
But I
other
don't
people
want
think
to
of
do.
you.
But here's the thing: I don't like doing it for myself because I have to spend like what 2 to 3 minutes, maybe up to 5, fiddling with my hair, making sure it's in the right position, making sure like I'm not putting a rhino horn on my head or something. And then when I'm done with all that, and when it's all just the bangs are up and I've got it styled to a way that I think looks good, I go out and nobody gives a shit. No one compliments, no one notices. So I'm like, what's the point?
These are kind of like proof that you're one of
I don't know, man. If it's like 2 to 3 minutes of extra, whatever, and you're just not worried about people noticing, look, is anyone going to notice if you have teeth, stained yellow teeth, and you haven't brushed in 3 weeks, so long as you put a little mouthwash in the morning? Probably not, or they're not going to point it out to you, but you probably feel better if you brush your teeth at least once a day.
Well, brushing the teeth is also a hygienic thing, and also making sure my teeth don't fall out.
I mean, you
I'm
ain't
talking
wrong, but
like it's not like if I don't style my hair up every day, my hair's gonna start falling out. It's more like styling your hair is purely for aesthetic purposes. And if my aesthetic is my hair doesn't poof out like a Beatles helmet or something, then I'm not gonna. Then it's like, for what reason should I? For what reason should I sneeze and bless people with and
sure is a rough time
bless people's sneezes?
Trappings, morons.
I don't know. I just don't see the reason to. if my hair doesn't offend at the sight, and if I just, yeah.
It's alright, man. I mean, look, I'm not saying every guy's got to style their hair up in a huge pompadour that sticks out 5 inches past their freaking face, but, you know, if you want to have fun with it and you enjoy it, do it. If you don't, then, yeah, just be the fly on the wall, like, blend in, and if you're comfortable with that, be comfortable with that.
No one asked.
I mean, it's like that adage of, like, yeah, you can try, like, when you get complimented on anything as a guy, you just fucking
Do you go to Yasugami like
don't know how to
Saturday?
reply.
Starting school
In my
tomorrow.
experience, I don't know how you reply, but yeah, I just didn't know how to respond to compliments for. I don't know how to respond to compliments still. So when they do happen, and they're unprompted, we go through a lot of scenarios, you know. Like, we tend to think, like, okay, am I being filmed? Are there people recording me on their phones and chuckling to themselves? Am I being sold something? So, yeah, there you go. That's what receiving compliments is for me. I legit don't believe it. Anyway, yeah, King Moron's dead. Oh no, anyway. Because, like, the guy was an absolute asshole.
Oh, God, yeah.
Wrong.
With the whole, where he, like, talked about the first girl that died badly. Like, no. No. Jesus.
I'm alright.
And we will protect the Nanako.
Protect.
We must protect Nanako.
After Miss Saki Konishi's, where the target was involved, Mr. Muraoka was known for his strict teaching methods.
Strict my ass!
Constant friction with his students. The police will be pursuing this line of inquiry and are planning to
Well, I
begin
mean,
a
yeah,
large-scale
it's
investigation. We now turn to our reporter
Yeah.
at the scene for more
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, no, it makes sense, but dang. I would love it if, like, he walks in and he just starts freaking, like, finger in your face, like, what do you know about your teacher's death, kid?
Yeah.
Ooh, magic trick. Let's see what we do this time.
No, see, the method you do with that is that you prepare with some ketchup, and then you make it look like you actually tore it off wholly.
Hey, how did you do that? Tell me.
I love these
God, if
little
only-
family moments.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
I wonder who your caretaker will be, because we know Persona 6 will most likely take place in high school again, but
Yeah.
who's your caretaker gonna be? Like, will you get a normal family, or is it gonna be a different situation? Part of me has the idea that what if you're someone who gets transferred overseas in the next Persona game? Like, you get transferred, like, overseas as a Japanese exchange student, and you're in like X country for a year. How different would that be?
That would be pretty cool, actually. I'd be pretty down for that.
And your caretaker would be the foreign household taking care of you. You know, you'd get unique NPCs that, you know, are, you know, foreign, and it'd be a different kind of high school setting. I don't know. I think it'd be neat.
There we go. Now, this is also part of why I wanted us to get this done. Because I've been doing the Margaret quest line, where you gotta keep fusing different personas. And I needed this skill.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what improvements I would probably want to see from, like, Persona 6 in regards to mechanics or things along those lines, because I would say Persona 5 is the best in terms of gameplay. Easily, like, at the very least, to a player convenience sense.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of things in Persona 5 that feel added on to a certain degree that just makes the battles feel smooth and quick and just optimized to a way where you're not sitting there for 10 minutes in a boss fight unless you're in some kind of wall, like with the mid to late game boss that I talked about many a time before.
Yeah.
So when you play 5, that will be something you'll feel evident of, like just, oh, I feel that. Oh, hello. Oh yeah, her.
I love how you're like on a
Yeah.
train of thought. It's like hot lady walks in. Look at that skirt.
Well,
I mean,
There's a
okay,
certain
if
kind
any teacher introduces herself in that posture. Run.
no.
Oh God, no. That. This is why this is a fantasy game, kids.
Yeah.
I'll be taking good care of you instead. Okay. Why don't we start off with
Honestly, I don't.
silence from Mr. Morooka. Close your eyes, everyone. That should be enough.
Yeah.
I'll do
Oh my
best to
God.
follow Mr. Morooka's shoe. So our regular exams are still on track for next week. As your principal said,
I do love one thing about this series, and it's that they make characters.
They do. They do. Whether it's for good or for bad, that's up to the interpreter.
But that's what it
For the
means
most part, they do good, but in other parts, not so much. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I recently saw a video about Catherine, and you know the talks from a YouTuber I really like, Super Butter Buns.
Yeah, she does good stuff.
She does really good stuff. Go check her out. Her channel's awesome.
Yeah, we will totally push Butterbuns. That's a good channel.
Yeah. And she had done a video on Catherine talking about how, you know, how the game had changed in its new thing. Yeah, this is why this lady's a big.
Also, I'm sorry, but any teacher who would literally call a student inexperienced jailbait, what the hell?
Did you not remember that?
Oh my God, no, I didn't. That is wow. That just. I don't know if anyone would translate or write that in today. That's one line that actually sticks out to me as what the hell are they thinking?
Well, Atlas and Sega tend to have these fairly out there terms of localization. Like literally in 5 Strikers, which is like the Persona 5 sequel Muso game thing, there is a legitimate use of the word simp.
Say what? I'm sorry. I'm having to listen over the conversation in game. I missed
Yeah.
that.
Was on a striptease show. Huh? A striptease? Dude, if that was true, the paparazzi would have... I'm serious. But the reception went bad right when it was getting to the good part. It was on that midnight channel everyone keeps talking about. You actually believe that crap? Trust me. You were dreaming.
Dense enough to be talking during class, but I guess the teacher's being a bitch, so it's fine.
Yeah, her head's still
Like,
nodding and she's
like,
moving her
listen-
hands, so.
Listen, there's a certain kind of teacher sultriness that I'm fine with, but when it's like, you know, when it's like her, that's when you know it's like, okay, she's the butt of a joke.
Oh, yeah.
Been a while since I failed any subject.
Yeah. If by a while you mean all the time.
Anyway, about the gameplay convenience of Persona 5, like, it does a thing where eventually, if you get high enough ranks in certain social links, you'll just straight up get to not have to deal with battles at all.
Interesting.
If the enemies are lower level enough to you.
They just essentially run away.
No, like you go up to them, you encounter them, and then then there's no fight.
Oh.
None.
Do you get
You-
experience or just no fight?
I think to compensate for the fights just instantaneously ending,
Oh yeah.
when you gain the ability, well, you just gain personas, like a random persona that would have been in that encounter.
Ah, okay.
If this
That's how
person
it
had been
works.
inside the
Like,
TV, I would have said
as I
something.
said, as I think I've told you before, there are like minor stealth elements in 5. So you sneak up to your enemy, and if you're super high level and you have this perk that I just mentioned, you hop on, you tear the mask off, and then suddenly it'll say like, you got Sandman, you know, like that.
Hope it wasn't personal. Because there's way too many people who ate a King Moron's gut.
But didn't you say it's people who get famous on TV who are targeted? If the killer's choosing targets,
I don't know. He'd
watching
probably be
TV,
he'd probably be
I picture
famous
him
for
someone who
throwing up in a
doesn't
river or
have a-
something.
I don't think it's worth trying to figure out motives for that. There are too many people who hold grudges against you for no reason, even if you.
Yeah.
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 You speak from experience, research. But with King Moron, he didn't appear on the Midnight Channel or the regular TV.
That's a sad fact.
Get this thing
Mm-hmm.
Is that no matter what you're just doing, even if you're just vibing and doing your own life, people will want to hate you for no reason.
Amen to that.
Not gonna leave any stones at school unturned.
It's just something that you got to deal with because sometimes people sometimes just they find their means of a dopamine fix, and that's what they found because everything else just didn't do it for them, and therefore they do that or something. I don't know. I think that was probably one of the major themes of Agretzko season 3 was just dealing with that pure vitriol,
Yeah.
the nonsensical like vitriolic spitting.
Mm-hmm.
I actually haven't seen Agretzko season 4.
It's good.
I hear a lot of people have like really cool, like really turned a cold shoulder to Haida for a lot of reasons.
Whatever.
Like I don't know I don't know what he did in season 4. I'm all I remember is in season 3 when like he saves Agretzko from saves Retzko from getting stabbed. Spoilers, I guess, for a season that's been out for like a while. Like he saves her from getting stabbed, and then the girl that was crushing on Haida is like, "Oh, you choose her then?" And it's like, "Bitch, she could have died."
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, essentially,
Anyway.
though, he does choose Retzko in the end. How much
Right,
do you
but
want to know about season 4, or should I just be silent?
let me explain the thing in season 3 that got on some people's nerves. The fact that he went up to her and was talking about this relationship stuff, like, while she was still recovering from the idea of, oh god, someone was about to try and kill me. Like, a lot of people are like, Haida, that is not the time, dude. Like, and it's played up just like, oh no, this is the right frame of mind. It's like, no, he didn't really give her. She clearly needed more space, and he did not give it. But that's from season 3 though. What's season 4 done?
Okay, so long and short of it, Haida gets into some shady shit. He ends up nearly running the company. Pig Boss goes over the line, essentially gets himself nearly axed. But it's because of corporate hegemony and corruption. Essentially, Gretzko ends up having to spy on Haida, finds out, if he goes through with this, he's going to be a complete criminal, and it's not worth his neck to do it. He ends up leaving the company. They're going to work on, like, just being friends by the end of it all. It's more like social and peer pressure and how easy it is to become corrupted or involved with things that really aren't worth your time, but deluding yourself into believing it's what you have to do. So you could say season 4 is actually less about Agretzko, more about Haida.
And I guess maybe that might be why people are feeling sour or something.
I mean, and again, like, even the Pig Boss is probably more of a prime character than Agretzko. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot happens with Agretzko, but the story that season just isn't about her as much. It's more everything happening around her.
Right.
And how she's dealing with it.
Either way, they're Netflix is definitely upping the anime game a lot. Like recently, there was just a post on. I think I shared it with you. Did I share it with you?
HBO Max, why can't you be more like Netflix?
And Netflix then proceeds to have 1997 Berserk and Monster. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? That's like the most out of left field thing I could have ever expected.
I mean, they might keep making shitty live action animes, but you know what? it draws in viewers, and it's probably somehow pulling in more rights to do
I
more of
know
that shit.
it's like, or like being able to bring these shows in back into a popular limelight, so maybe they could get, oh, I don't know, a fucking Blu-ray release.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think of an instance of like with Monster, where it was just kept in licensing hell because it premiered, or it was shown on like Sci-Fi Channel or something like years ago, and the dub's fantastic from what I've heard, and you know it's one of the most well-written dramas ever in like manga and anime. No physical release, nothing at all. It was just held by Viz Media forever. But now Netflix has it suddenly, and I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
huh?
Yeah, like, we're gonna watch it.
And then there's 1997 Berserk, which is like touted by many as the Berserk adaptation. The. No mince words.
Mm-hmm. The definitive Berserk anime. Got it.
Yeah. Save, like, I don't know, save for like if Adi Shankar pulls through on the idea of wanting to do his own Berserk adaptation and give, and in his words, give it justice. Which, if there's anybody that I would probably trust with Berserk, it's the guy that helped produce the Netflix Castlevania series.
God, yeah, and that was great.
Yeah. I mean, they literally have a Berserk reference in season 4. So, yeah, if you want my deal about the Berserk thing, it's just I've seen some scenes, but I haven't seen the whole anime. But some of the scenes that I have seen, and you know, from the reviews that I've watched, my God, that it just sounds like a classic, and I can't wait to give it a go, because I've seen like DVDs of it at conventions run upwards of around like 190 to 200 bucks. Like this is valued.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, then half of those DVDs, let's be honest, were someone ripping it off of a torrent site and then burning the DVD.
Maybe.
Quite a few are, dude. Like, I've seen it, and they'll still charge the freaking price. I'm like, it cost you $10 to make in about 30 minutes, but all right.
Fun fact, actually, the studio that animated the 1997 Berserk series, same one that has and is continuing to animate Pokemon.
I mean, that's impressive, honestly. I'm kind of impressed.
It's just
by that.
really hilarious to me to see like
the disparity.
The disparity between the two kinds of
animation style.
shows and animation styles that a studio is capable of. Like seeing Studio Titmouse have a lot of comedy shows or shorts or music videos, and then suddenly they come out with Legends of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime, and it's like, wow. Okay.
But, you know, I actually watched this whole thing on, like, the aesthetic of 90s anime, why it looks the way it does, and so many people go back to it, and I'm like, 90s anime, man, it had the look. It was good looking stuff.
It had this really good look to it, and Cell Animation has a particular kind of feel that just, like, and we're not saying that computer animated series aren't good and can't look good, because that would be a fucking lie.
Oh, hell yeah, no, that'd be a complete lie.
But I do miss the days of where it's like, oh, this background is just straight up a painting.
Yeah,
and
someone actually had to make that.
Yeah, considering...
So we'll make sure it's Neko Shogun with Bufu. But I think it's Bufu or Bufula.
Just put both Bufu and Bufula.
I want to make sure it's actually useful. 1 second.
Okay. But yeah, someday I actually want to approach buying cells, like animation cells, and frame them if I could help it, because those are high value items, you know.
Yeah,
those were drawn by character designers onto those sheets. I want one of those sheets. How badass would it be if someday I just get a animation cell of Vash from Trigun?
Yeah.
So that'd be the dream. And I remember in particular there was this video from someone, I forget their channel name, but they were talking about how Berserk kind of is impossible to adapt. And well, actually not impossible, just one of the hardest animes you probably could attempt to adapt.
I mean,
Because so much of it is built into being black and white, and so much of it is built into having more like still moments as opposed to moments of animation gifs, because that's what the video also pointed out, is that nowadays when you have an anime moment you want to share, it's not, more often than not, it's not like a, hey, check out this beautifully printed or painted landscape and the two characters sitting on it overlooking a massive campfire. It's moments of like Sakuga blog or something, moments that are gifable. Like,
yeah.
hey, look at this cool animation. Like, look at this animation of a really tender hug, or a cool action scene between two guys with swords, that kind of thing.
This is true. This is true.
So, what I would say is, I kind of agree, because there are some media out there that are just too good on that medium and can't work anywhere else. Like, I'm not saying Berserk couldn't work as an anime, because it did in 1997, because if you watch 1997 Berserk in any capacity, there's like, it's not very highly animated. A lot of it's very still. They use the watercolor technique a lot.
They pushed watercolor. They were like, we're painters, this is what we do.
Well, it was just more like they just couldn't make a Sakuga fest.
Well, not only that, but like their backgrounds, because they were painted the way they were, they did such large canvases. They actually had to use camera work and like expect where things were going to pan in the photos. So like they didn't make an actual three-dimensional space, but they knew like between two-dimensional layers they needed to create the effect of it. And so you get this really like warped and twisted look in certain scenes that, when you're using something that moves in 3 dimensions or actually takes it into effect, is no longer as distorting, or I don't know the word for it, but like it's no longer as uncanny. Like it doesn't evoke the same emotion as when, someone's manipulating this, and hell looks like hell because it was hell to make hell.
Yeah, and then nowadays with the computer animation stuff, the next controversy is people using an AI or some minor AI to essentially make it 60 frames per second, when that's not the point of how an anime's good look is achieved.
Yeah, frame rate is usually not the end-all be-all when it comes to anime. Because most film is actually recorded at 21 frames per second, so...
And it's like, you'd think like, and then some will say, oh, well, then how am I seeing it as super smooth though? Because
your brain fills in the information.
Your brain fills in the missing information. Or there's like a small guide that also helps you with the animation. Like say I have a stick in my hand, like just a normal like oak stick or something, and I want to swing it at like a bucket or something, like full power swing. Like the 60 frames per second thing would be, you see the full action go through, but if I were 2D animated, and sadly I'm not, I would have my arm raised and then have my arm be smeared for like a second on screen along with the stick, and then the ending cell or whichever would be my my stick hitting the bucket.
Yep. I mean, smear frames are very important, and guess what? They add to the stylized nature of animation. Like, that's what gives it its look, is how people handle things like that.
So yeah, so in other words, making your...
I just accidentally ripped my headphones out, and I think it's still recording, so hopefully...
It is...
Awesome. Cool. Everything's still coming out of the microphone.
Well,
I moved my foot and ripped my headphones out. My room is very cramped.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Cool news, I guess, is sort of a casual announcement. Jordan's planning on moving out soon, so he'll hopefully get more space to work in because he's 6'5", right?
6'4". I mean, with the right pair of shoes, I'm 6'5". So thank you.
He's a big guy, and he need big space, and his room not big space, so he's gonna go rent big space.
Ah, dang it! I need more expression.
Anyway, as I was saying, so when you see people saying like, "Hey, here's like X fight in Y anime with 60 frames per second," it doesn't look good. And if people try to be like, "Oh yeah, it does look good," those are the gamers that just think 60 frames per second baseline is the most important thing since coffee in the morning, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they clearly don't know what they're talking about. Like, they're the kind of people that would try to make Into the Spider-Verse 60 frames per second.
Whew. I mean, that movie
Yeah.
already looks amazing.
Yeah, and it's not animated in 60 frames per second.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, almost all animation and television in general, just like the way people record things, is done in 21 frames per second. So
So the next time that
it's not
somebody
the same
tries
as like gaming. Like, if something's in 3D, then you want to be closer to the way the eye actually works. And on CRT, it wasn't that bad because things were fuzzy, so in between frames weren't as obvious. With high definition TVs the way they are, yeah, when it comes to like CG and such, we want 60 frames. We want 120 frames. But for anything else, yeah, no, 20 to 30 frames per second is more than enough, and it's honestly probably going to make better work because now they can draw a higher quality image 30 times instead of a less good quality image 60 times.
Right. It's just so annoying to see that, because I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but there was this like GIF from, I don't know if it was the official one, or a fan one, but it was a Studio Ghibli related post where it was showing like, hey, this is food from Studio Ghibli movies, and it's like, yeah, the food in Studio Ghibli movies look absolutely edible. If I were in the world of Spirited Away, I would have been turned into a fat pig. You kidding me?
Yeah, no, it does look delicious. I mean, I don't know what it is with anime food, but anime food is pretty tasty looking.
But it was shown in like that obvious, you know, like artificially bumped up to 60 frames per second thing, and people were just like, please don't do this. Like, other animators were going like, Jesus Christ,
Okay,
why?
I agree with Mr. Kondo. Holy shit, shaved ice after like a hard workout. Summer is behind us and not in front of us, but oh my god, I kind of want to turn back the clock and do that. That sounds amazing.
Post Ring Fit workout, you get shaved ice.
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome. Probably neurocapillary constriction. Oh, that makes some sense. Okay. Well, my Latin was off. See, like, I was thinking brain freeze, and I was like, the things in your brain, the actual capillaries are getting smaller because it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense. Oh well. So this is probably nearing the end of the video. I hope y'all have had fun.
Hope y'all have fun too. So just something of an update and chatting kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do it, and I needed to get to a place where I could grind a little without having to worry about, you know, all the story not being in a video. So it's like, now I got probably a day or two to experiment with here. Let me make sure it's not raining.
It says it's overcast over on the side there.
Yep, okay, so they're not going to do the rainy day. Let me see if I can do something with kanji real quick. If not, then yeah. Probably just do some basic leveling up or save and call it here. because
Yeah,
I know I
I've
need to do a little kanji work anyway.
yeah, I think the thing that I would probably say, actually no, this was,
Yeah.
wait, was this done in 5 first, or was it, do you have a button here that you can like see who is where and see who is available
No,
to,
you
okay,
don't know.
that's it.
Like you have to memorize what day of the week you can do what with what person and just manage your time pretty well. I know
Well,
kanji is often available on Wednesdays, but as you see, he doesn't necessarily get a exclamation point above his head, and he's either going to be at the textile shop or in the school.
well, I have good news. That happens in 5.
Yeah.
There's a button for you to pull up on your phone, and it can bring up a list of the social links that you have available, and it can show you like, hey, this one's gonna get ranked up. Maybe you should go to this one.
Mm-hmm.
You're back.
Or if it's grayed
Oh.
out like they're not available that day.
Hey.
It's a very, 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 very convenient thing. And on top of that, the minor online elements help the school bits too. So whenever you need to remember what an answer to a question you're asked by the teacher is, you can bring it up, and the community will show like 98% answered this.
Yeah.
So you don't have to bring up a game guide anymore, except for like on the test, and you're like, shit, what was the thing again?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do later. I'm just going to stick to the save. And we studied with
Blew my
kanji today.
Blew my shit out when I saw that for the first time.
Yeah, I bet.
Like,
It's an annoying thing about this game, but it's part of when it was made.
You learn real world things, which is nice, but it's like having the button to just press it and then see the right answer just be immediately available to you.
Yeah.
Jesus, I wish I had that in high school.
Same. That would have made high school way easier.
Like a cult, like a LA Noir intuition point thing, where it's just like you go into your mind palace and be like, okay, what is like the term used for, like, what number is neon on in the periodic table, and then you see the 4 answers, and then you just see in your brain, community says this in this percentage.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's probably it. All right.
So yeah,
Wow. I
I'm
hope y'all
excited
had
for
fun
when
tonight.
5. I'm excited for when 5 and 3 are available to more audiences.
Same. I mean, I've only played a little bit of 3. I'm excited to play through it for real. And hell, 5 is going to be fun. I know you've been wanting me to play that for a while. So let's beat 4. All right. See y'all later.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Open Couch Gaming for more video game antics.